Picture this. You're playing a crucial game in your promo series, from silver to gold in League of Legends. It's a win and in, and your opponents are in poor position. They're behind on towers, objectives, kills, even farm. It'd take an absolute miracle for them to win. They get their miracle. Single bad team fight grants them their power spikes, and they're able to reverse the lead you'd built up and end the match. You find yourself incredibly frustrated, but do your best to move on to the next match. After all, you're one win from re-qualifying, and you'll even get a freebie win this time. Everything goes downhill. You start dropping games and making silly mistakes. You're aware that it's happening by this point, but there doesn't seem to be any way of pulling yourself out of it. You're experiencing tilt. Tilt is a term derived from poker. It describes a specific mental state in which a player will deviate from their normal playstyle and play in a manner which is risky, aggressive, and unreasoned in response to negative outcomes, especially those perceived as unfair. This ultimately leads to more losses and a deepening sense of anger and frustration. Tilt is the very definition of a vicious cycle. What's worse is that it often provokes its victims into continuing to play while tilted, hoping to break the cycle and make up for lost ground. Tilt doesn't just occur in probability-heavy games like poker, though. Tilt is a phenomenon which can be observed in virtually any physical or e-sport. You can be tilted in League of Legends, Rocket League, Rainbow Six. You can even be tilted in Minecraft. Various esports have seen notable cases of long-term tilt leading to the collapse of careers or the dashing of tournament hopes. Tilt doesn't just affect individuals at the upper echelons of competition, however. It also affects those with humbler aspirations. No doubt, anyone who has played competitive online games of any sort has had teammates make stupid decisions against all reason, or even done so themselves at one point or another. Given that tilting presents such a substantial problem for continued positive performance and can lead to significant periods of being unable to play, learn, or enjoy your game of choice, what approaches can you take to minimize the impact of tilt when it happens, or mitigate the possibility of it occurring entirely? Unfortunately, studies seem to indicate that avoiding the experience of tilt is a highly unlikely eventuality. They've shown that a vast majority of poker players will experience tilt to some degree of severity at one point in time. So, if prevention isn't a possibility, what's a beleaguered competitor to do? The honest answer? Work hard at developing mental toughness and build a toolkit of skills which will allow you to reappraise your losses in a dispassionate way. One of the best methods we can use when combating tilt is mindfulness. Through mindfulness, we can be more aware of our emotional states and better understand and modulate them. Mindfulness gives us the capacity to respond less viscerally to our feelings and ultimately make decisions which don't rely upon impulses. Mindfulness essentially grants us the superpower of being aware that we're going into tilt. It's far too easy to stumble through several games, wreaking havoc on your rank before you even catch on to the fact that you're tilted. As a result, I'd recommend taking a short break between each game to think about how you thought the last one went. Ask yourself what you did well and what you did poorly. Think about how your overall performance impacted the game, and once you've given yourself some time to think, you can then decide on whether to play again. The few minutes you take to examine your own thoughts can prove crucial in helping you realize when you're tilted. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmingly negative about the result of the previous game, that's a sure sign that you need to take a longer break. Use it as an opportunity to go for a walk, play with a pet, enjoy a different game, or work on another hobby. If possible, you should even consider avoiding the cause of your tilt for the rest of the day. Generally, it's easier to come back in a good frame of mind following a longer break. Sometimes, stopping for the day isn't a possibility though. Major tournaments or events can run for multiple hours in some games and require you to continue playing even when you've had a bad game. When you can't just get away, there are several things that you should keep in mind to try and reduce the severity of negative emotions. First, you need to remind yourself that the outcome of any individual game does not reflect on your skill as a player. A myriad of factors can influence a result, and viewing your own capabilities distilled through the lens of a single poor game is a huge misrepresentation. It is important to remain focused not on the outcome, but on how you're executing your plan and role in the game. The win doesn't matter, what matters is playing as well as you can. By divorcing your emotional investment from the win, it becomes easier to respond less severely to losses. Second, remember that you've played hundreds of games before the bad one, and you'll likely play hundreds more afterwards. The actual effect of any given loss washes away in a large enough sample of games. Third, remember that you're gonna die one day. Finally, for something practical that you can do when you find yourself getting angry at video games, just take a few deep breaths. Yep, that's it. Breathing. You're cured. Congrats. Not really, but breathing does help. Deep breathing helps to curtail the physiological symptoms of anger like increased heart rate, and this can overall lessen your feelings of tilt. Focusing intensely on physical sensations within your own body can also achieve this. There's plenty more to be said for the utility of mindfulness exercises like these, and their benefits in most aspects of life, but we'll save that for another day. For now, the most important things to take away are monitor your feelings, take breaks when needed, focus on improvement not outcomes, and breathe. Thanks for watching this video. I know that a lot of this is definitely not new information, but I think it's important for it to be put out there as much as possible. We play games, even competitive ones, for fun. I'll see you guys next time when I'll be taking a look at the theory behind reflex training. Thanks.